oh boy, now I get to talk about the fucking woke Godzilla. The Godzilla who fucking transitioned. So this is gonna be fucking fun. So let's just get right into it, cause I know this is a lot of juicy fucking ass stuff. Aside from the woke Godzilla shit. But like how we did in the previous video, we're gonna be starting with the Pico Godzilla, Godzilla Hunted, which this comic doesn't have much. He blows up shit again, and we learn the one Call of Duty painting is real. So I don't know, Godzilla's canon in Call of Duty. Whatever fucking upscaling Call of Duty has, Godzilla. I'm joking. I don't know. But that fucking one guy that everyone said was fucking like 5D, the Shadow Man or whatever this fucking headass was. Godzilla beats him now. Cry. Anyways, he's also stated to be above that mech thing. I don't know its name. That Titan Hunter or something? It's so fucking irrelevant. Does it even have a name? And it kills like the useless fodder Skull Island creatures. The best it does is like kill a Warbat, which congratulations. Do you want a cookie? That's not really impressive for Godzilla, even now. And he kinda, but also not really does well against Kong. So it doesn't really upscale Godzilla that much anyways. It's not really good. And we also learn in this comic that Godzilla is going after a 30 times Ampzilla. And which we see him find the new empire. We also learn in this comic that he was active between the events of GVK and GXK, so he is still weakened for now at least. That's gonna change pretty quickly. Don't worry. You know, he never really had a time to recharge from the mecha and shit, but, you know, once again, that's gonna change pretty quickly. But to the movie itself, it essentially picks up where the comic left off, him fighting Scylla. With him to know also via the opening that he is the strongest post-GVK Titan, excluding Shimo, because, well, they don't really know about Shimo yet. So, Charged Axe Kong, Rodan, Ampzilla, Queen Muto, Tiamat, etc., etc. These are all Titans that I know about and should apply here. And then they have this still weakened Godzilla, by the way, absolutely dog on this Ampzilla, having her like a ragdoll and taking the stabs better than he did the minion before brutally murdering her with just a fucking atomic breath. So now we can finally say the Monsterverse is rated R because of all that fucking gore. Jesus. It's gonna make a kid cry. Or something. He then takes a 3-week-long nap, which fully recharges him back to base.
After recharging, Godzilla arises and...
As, once again, we know the comic, he had no risk between GVK and GXK, and was still just doing work. And now he's back into his base state, essentially comparable to, like, base 2019, essentially. After this fucking fat baby wakes up, he fucking takes a trip to France. I didn't know he was like that, but sure. Takes a trip to France and charges up on fucking nuclear energy. And the novel sits at this absolute peak now and just overloading with energy. So he's pretty good above his base right now. Well, some people like to say it's comparable to Thermo. They're only compared in the sense that both are overflowing in energy. However, as we learned via the director of the film, simply overloading with energy doesn't equate to Thermo. Thermo is a very specific scenario that was only able to happen with Mothra. But power plants have more energy than nukes do. It was a modified nuke. Shove it up your ass. Holy fucking shit. It's a specifically modified nuke. Like, come on, guys. Like, do you think a normal ass fucking nuke is gonna make Godzilla go fucking on roids like he did in the film? Like, damn. Also know via the energy readings, he has less energy than the start of Nuke Amped Godzilla. And once again, Nuke Amped Godzilla constantly goes stronger in time, even at the point where he was glowing orange at the end. So, Blue GX Godzilla wouldn't even beat Thermo at all. He's not even close. And he's not even above Nuke Amped. He's below Nuke Amped. So he's definitely above all his previous bases before. So it's like a middle ground, I guess. And then he goes on to Tiamat's lair. And while Tiamat does physically give him some trouble, the atomic breath turns him into the world's largest fucking fish dinner. Before he goes to the largest stockpile of energy on the planet to recharge.
Tiamat's Arctic lair sits in the direct path of electromagnetically charged solar winds, making it the largest stockpile of energy on Earth.
Yeah, Yes, yes, I know you like to glaze Godzilla GXK, we get it. In which then he becomes... Roll the clip.
Now legends unite to fight. Deep in the hollow earth, a battle is brewing. Fearsome Godzilla has evolved to become more powerful than ever and joins the mighty Kong with his powerful beast glove to face the deadliest titans ever, the giant ruthless Scar King. Even Suko, Kong's young ally, joins the fight. As the ultimate battle for the hollow earth rages, the fate of the entire world hangs in the balance. Godzilla, Kong, the new empire.
Evolved Godzilla is considered 2 times base by guides, but also the designer who compares it to the Kaioken base, which is at its base at 2 times boost, not including any higher Kaioken shits. Yes, I watched Dragon Ball. You also know Evolved is only a temporary state, and once again isn't permanent like Kaioken. It's only a mid transformation, and he outright lost some fat. And when he became evolved, his skin grew thicker, and he could control his heat to the point where he can counter Shimo was absolute 0. And his capacity, which in this case is backed up by Adam, that's more capacity training, which is stamina, not actual power. Yes, while the designer is the most valid source, he is the outright creator of these creatures. He has to hold some validity on how these creatures are designed. Even if he does inflate some, like Mecha and Shimo, which we'll get onto a bit more later, he is valid. And, well, take it with a grain of salt, he is valid. Other designers have been considered valid, too. I don't think, like, if he wasn't valid, he'd be allowed to answer all these pretty decently big questions about his work constantly. And once again, that was evolved above Thermo. No. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. And as much as the toys... Same toys that say mechas above anything in GVK, which isn't fucking true. And even, once again, the designer of Evolved compares all 3 to mecha, and by his words, Burning will do the best, Evolve in second, and Base will do last. Obviously, once again, he's inflating mecha, but still. So, I'd much rather agree with the designer of Evolved than some shitty fucking Walmart toys. The same Walmart toys that like to think Mecha is strong. Come on now, people. We're better than this. We're better than thinking fucking Mecha Godzilla is strong. Ain't that right? Yeah. And we also learned that Godzilla was able to beat Scar, his army, and Shimo. And we know Shimo is there because of he has the whip that controls Shimo in the painting in the past. And to be fair, it's mainly just Shimo. The other Kongs and Scar are fucking irrelevant to Godzilla. And we also know that Godzilla beat Shimo in another unrelated fight. Well, their beam clashes are equal, and Godzilla won via unknown means, and this is consistent with the fact that one is locked in Hollow Earth, the other isn't. And that is noted by the humans who mostly aren't even aware that Godzilla is like even supercharged and blue, more or less evolved. So that Kong with the Beast Glove would get no diff. So they still think it's like the weakened GVK Godzilla, and they're like, oh nah, Godzilla would beat his fucking ass. And we also know, once again, Base Evolve is the strongest thing alive, including Shimo. So, there's already your consistency of why Kong doesn't fucking scale. Anyways, when we get to the Kong fight, well, Godzilla's definitely mad. He's enraged, actually. And rage is not bloodlusted. I don't think you guys know what bloodlusted means. Bloodlusted is uncontrollable desire to kill. Not just like normal killing. It's uncontrollable. Tom Spider-Man at the end of No Way Home is fucking bloodlusted. That's a good fucking baseline. Godzilla really isn't this here. And we know he's not using his full power too, because he doesn't use his spiral and doesn't use a lot of other abilities for some fucking reason. Such as when he gets blinded by the fucking sand, he randomly chooses not to use his ability that he could use in fucking Dominion to see past when he is blinded. Like, come on, bro. And while, to be fair, Kong does start off holding back, he goes all out once he starts throwing his punches, and in fact, he gets a rage amped as he lost his temper.
Jason Eisner, who does Dark Side of the Ring, I just recently showed him this movie, and whenever Godzilla suplexes Kong, he stood out of his chair. He was so excited.
This moment where like Kong is beating up Godzilla was a little bit longer earlier on, remember, Adam? Then we...
Well, this is his revenge for GVK. You know, he's trying to get Godzilla to just do something, but right here he kind of lost his temper, and so, you know, he got a little carried away. You know, the thing I've realized is...
And we know Kong gets these rage amps, and they essentially make him ramp up past his base, So a past base with essentially something that's comparable to the axe, which Godzilla can tank. It doesn't really do anything to him. There's no injuries and there's no sign of any internal wounds either. Commentary only states that he got stun locked by them.
Plates unfurl over his fist, and he throws an uppercut into Godzilla's jaw, flooring him to the sand. Seasoned the advantage, Kong pummels his opponent with rights and lefts. He roars furiously as he stuns Godzilla with his flurry of punches.
Which doesn't outright mean that he got affected. And then he's just fucking wide awake in the next shot. So no, he isn't fucking knocked out. Shut the fuck up, please. And then he goes on to outright blitz Kong. By the novel's word, blitz him before Kong can react. This is an actual blitz, folks. Not just, oh, he outpaces. And then pins him down, leaving him, as the novel quotes, helpless before Mothra shows up. We also know that Kong only took the suplex, tackle, stomps, etc. because of the sand cushioning Kong's blows. Kong got lucky here, even according to Adam himself.
Well, and see, like, in the last film, Godzilla won from crushing Kong down. That's sort of his, like, finisher move. But, you know, Kong got lucky here because the ground in Egypt gives way and it's, like, sandy. And so the stomping isn't enough to crush him to death. So that's the reason why that move isn't as effective here as it was in the last movie.
That is fucking sad. Please do not say Kong scales to evolve. That's not true whatsoever.
To you. Don't disrespect. Who do you think you talking to? You might have got a little dub right now, but don't forget, Godzilla, big dog around here. Alright, you got a little good hit in. But don't forget, I'm still that nigga.
Anyways, we will now get to Shimo.
Mods, crush his skull, thank you.
But for the baseline, we should see how strong Shimo actually is. Shimo's breath can insta-kill Kong, and even with the Beast Glove Kong, he can put Kong on his ass from a single tail swipe, throw him around like a fucking rag doll, like a fucking chew toy. Jesus fuck, Shimo, you're like the worst fucking dog ever. You make my dog like a fucking saint. And we also know Shimo can just rip Kong's arm off. So already Shimo is like way above Kong. And the novel compares him to Ghidorah threat-wise, however they later take it back. However, once again, the designer Shimo, who once again overinflates Shimo, and considers them around equal. Well, as much as the shitty promo says otherwise, this is the designer. I don't care how invalid you think the designer is. The designer is gonna hold more fucking validity than a shitty fucking Walmart toy. We also know Kong thinks that Shimo is the strongest thing he ever fought, so excluding off all the Godzilla, since we'll get to him later, both things like Mechagodzilla, G21, Kamazats, etc. However, we do know that Ghidorah is the strongest Titan Godzilla has ever faced, which includes Shimo, as mentioned before, and we also know that Godzilla and Shimo in the past teamed up to beat Ghidorah, because I don't think the novel contradicts Godzilla King of the Monsters, and they as a team froze Ghidorah, them kind of ganged up, and Shimo eventually, did the Ice Age. So Shimo is definitely like one of the top dogs on there on the same level with Godzilla and Ghidorah. Maybe not above them, but on a similar level. She's definitely comparable. So now that we know a good level of Shimu's power, around a similar level as Ghidorah, maybe not above, but similar, at least physically. So considering how Shimo gets kind of interrupted by a single fucking lightning bolt from the fucking bat things. Imagine what fucking Ghidorah is doing even with a single fucking storm. Anyways, in the Hollow Earth fight, Godzilla is considered winning. The humans think he has the upper hand, and he's the one recovering quicker and landing the more devastating blows. He can also break out of Shimo's ice, as mentioned before. He can do this. Albeit, to be fair, there's a bit help Mothra. However, once again, due to the aforementioned statements, it's debatable if we even needed her help. We then go on to the real fight, where at the start, Godzilla is losing. Shimo is winning directly, and Shimo's kind of beating Godzilla up. And then Godzilla essentially unleashes his true power, which is the Spiral Ray. And while the novel compares this to the highest energy readings they've seen yet, so essentially up to base King Ghidorah and Nuke Godzilla levels pretty much, he's stronger than the start of Nuke Amped Godzilla and base King Ghidorah. And at the very least start half of Nuke Amped Goji, as once again the novel, as we know that Nuke Amped Goji stopped getting energy readings 6 minutes in, so we don't really have energy readings for him. Same thing with an Amped Ghidorah. However, what we do know is that the novel compares him to Nuke Amped Goji, as Thermo was not going to explode. He was stabilized via Mothra, but Nuke Amped was. So it is very much referring to Nuke Amped, and not Thermo by the director's own words. Because we know by the director's own fucking words that Nuke Amped was not going to explode. He stabilized, which the novel agrees with too. He then makes Scar look like a fucking bitch. Which Scar is a bitch throughout the entire movie. Please give this more respect.
That came up later, and then we're already done with the chip, and this is the supercharged Godzilla, which I think is super awesome.
Yeah, I like the way the energy's flooding out of his eyes.
Yeah, and there's a mix of the pink and the blue from the original one, and
I love this next shot here, where it's like.
yeah, he wanted to go nuclear.
Well, I like that for just a second, the movie it becomes Scar King's film for just a second, as you almost empathize with him running from the beam here. I remember we worked a lot on that shot there where Scar King gets hit by the beam, because it was kind of like how to make sure that didn't look like it would like totally kill him, Yeah.
Could have had him like beat a Muto or something. I don't fucking know. And then he goes on to Shimo, which he burns through Shimo with her beam, leaving a mark, and then overpowers her. We see this in the sidelines, and while Kong's opinion says otherwise, this is once again Kong's, opinion. He hasn't seen Spiral before, he's not really credible. And considering guidebooks say Spiral is the strongest monster fucking period, and the commentary confirmed Shimo was just in awe of his powers.
Blasts his laser breath straight up into the sky, causing colorful ripples to surge out across the clouds. The other Titans behold the phantasmagoric display. The crystalline spikes on Shimo's back light up as her eyes twinkle with wonderment.
Spiral's definitely above. So, what have we learned? Does the woke truly beat the non-woke? Sadly, yes, the woke is quite strong with this one. Spiral Godzilla, while definitely not the strongest Titan of all time, with things like Thermo and Amped Ghidorah, he is up there. He's not weak by any means. He's above Shimo. Any of the Godzillas mentioned in this video make Kong look a bitch. And pretty much above everything else. So, that's all.